Hi there, this is John Wilkinson again from History Made Easier, with a presentation that tries to draw out three distinct periods of Weimar, while at the same time setting out their influence on the ultimate rise to power of Hitler. I think you'll find it both interesting and very useful. I certainly hope so. Now, this initial post-war period from 1919 to 1923 is dominated by defeat and the Treaty of Shame, the effects of which you need to see in this post-war period itself. The German Revolution, the Spartacus uprising, the myth of the stab in the back and the cap putsch, the Weimar Constitution, of course, falling into this initial period too. But you need to project forward as well and be aware of how the deep psychological trauma nearly all Germans experienced in this period dragged on throughout Weimar, so that the Republic and its incredibly democratic constitution was never accepted. The strength, and so the fear, for the middle classes and the elites at least, of communism was always present, and the shame and the sense of being stabbed in the back was never forgotten. The traditional elites and the right-wing parties never accepted Weimar and its democracy and picked away at it whenever they could. And the flaws that were there in the Weimar Constitution only helped them. It all came to a head first in 1923, when the French and Belgian occupation of the Ruhr was another humiliation. Hyperinflation, another catastrophe. And on the left of my slide, even though it is an American cartoon, the cartoon shows the German army's stance and that of the humiliated politicians. And on the right, a poster from 1923 showing a worker refusing to follow the orders from French soldiers. "No, you will not force me," it says. And as I said, people didn't forget. And when the Great Depression was added to the traumas of this period, they turned to the extreme parties for solutions. Yet Weimar recovered from 1923, a recovery that lasted until the Wall Street crash in 1929. Good times returned for many Germans, as was seen in the vibrant Weimar culture, and some of the economic signs were positive. Streseman's fulfillment policy brought Germany in from the cold and into the League of Nations, as a permanent member of its council, no less. Germany was back. But unemployment remained stubbornly high, and Stresemann himself pointed to the fragility of the recovery, based as it was on American loans, with his dancing on a volcano speech. And even in the good times, traditionalists and across those right-wing parties, there was criticism of that Weimar culture, ranging from it being un-Germanic to downright immoral. And governments struggled to hold together. There were 4 different chancellors in that golden age, and a third of voters were opting for extremist parties, either at the left or the right. And then came the Wall Street crash and the Great Depression. And although the Depression was American-made, it affected Germany particularly badly, as those American loans were called in. Unemployment rocketed, and with it the vote for extremist parties, notably the Nazis. I really believe that at this point we need to add up the collective impact of the Treaty of Shame, of 1923, and of the Great Depression. Germans had had enough. And Act 2, Hitler's stance in 1923, where he could be seen to have stood up for Germany. Remember, Mein Kampf, my struggle, can be seen as Germany's struggle too, and his attempts to lead Germany out of the darkness. And on this slide, I show the Nazis' famous campaign poster for the 1932 presidential election that says Hitler, our last hope, as well as Hitler on the right as Chancellor. Still, Hitler might not have achieved power if not for the cooperation of the elites who hated Weimar, whereas they merely disliked Hitler. So, 3 distinct periods of Weimar, yet all helping to explain the ultimate rise to power of Hitler. I do hope you found it interesting and that it will help you. As always, my thanks for listening. Now, if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please do. Make me feel loved. And get your friends to as well. Good luck with your studies. Cheers.